Hello. Once again, my name is Critical Pulse. I'm one half of the RayPulse indicator team. The RayPulse indicator was coded by the absolute genius Ray Meeks and is based on a proven trading strategy which was created, tested, and has been traded by me for the past few years. The last video was focused on the basic version of the indicator as well as the basic settings. This video will be an extension into the pro version of the indicator. So if you have not viewed the previous video, I would definitely suggest doing that first. Also, I'll try to keep my heavy Southern accent under control for the duration of this video. So quickly, I'll go over some of the added features to the Pro version, and I'll go into each one of these more in depth throughout the video. But we have added both trader and investor modes to the Pro version. We've added suggested take profit areas. Also, we're showing the consolidation zone. And we're showing reversal warnings, which are represented by red and green X's. The Pro version also has a trend zone, which is represented by this red and green band that you see on my chart. In addition to that, we also have divergence warnings or indicators, as well as high volume candles added to the Pro version. The first thing we'll talk about is the investor mode. So what investor mode does is uses on-chain data coupled with the underlying strategy to give investor entry positions. And we can turn investor mode on in our settings by changing the mode here from trader to investor. And by investor, when we use that term, we're referring to someone who is not leverage trading, someone who is attempting to do the old buy low, sell high in the market. So as we turn that on, you'll see all of the short positions are taken off of the chart. And what you're given here is an entry and an exit along with the money bags, which are suggested take profit areas. Trader mode is the default setting. So if you want to use investor mode, you actually have to go into the settings and change that after you put the RayPulse Pro onto your charts. Also, investor mode is suggested it will work on all time frames. However, it's suggested that you use it on the 4-hour and above time frames. Since I've already mentioned it, we'll go ahead and discuss the take profit signals, which are represented by these money bag icons. So not all signals will give take profits. However, when you do see the take profit signal, it's generally a great place to do so. Your take profit sensitivity can be adjusted in the settings by adjusting this number. And the lower the number you put in the settings, the more take profit suggestions you'll get on the chart. So if I change this to a 1, for example, giving it time to populate on the chart, what we should see is a lot more take profits come up for each individual signal. You can see that very clearly here on this signal. We found just through testing that 12 tends to be a really good number, at least for me in my testing. And 12 is the default setting on the indicator currently. I want to be very clear in saying that just because the indicator gives take profit suggestions, that should not take away from your current risk management plans, trading plans, or established system for taking profit. These are suggestions based on indicator feedback only. If anything, these signals should only add to the user's current system for taking profit. Just like the first video, I'll say it again, taking profit early and often is extremely important with any strategy, but especially so when using an indicator-based strategy. And even more so with an indicator-based strategy in a consolidating market. I've put my indicator back on trader mode and lowered my time frame down to the 2-hour chart to talk about the trend zone or trend changeover zone, which is shown by this red and green band. What this represents is the user's higher time frame trend, which is dictated by the trend factor setting or manual long-term trend setting, which we discussed in the previous video. The trend zone can be used a couple different ways. The trend zone is a visual representation of the changeover point from long positions to short positions, or from an upward trending market to a downward trending market, which allows the user to clearly see if they are looking for a long or a short position. And as you can see here in this section, we went from long positions, and as price action moved through the trend zone, it switched over to short positions. And using this same example, the trend zone also shows trend strength. In that the further away price action is from the trend zone, the more strength the trend has. So in this same example, you can see we went from a very strong uptrend to a weak downtrend, which is trading in, at, or around the trend zone, to a strong uptrend, back to a weak downtrend, and then again into a weak uptrend to a strong uptrend. I've moved to a lower time frame, in this case the 1 hour chart, to show how this information may impact the user's decision making when trading. So basically, the further price action is from the trend zone, the higher my confidence level is. I may use a higher or a larger position size and take profit less often the further price action is from the trend zone. And on the flip side of that, with price action in, at, or around, or signals coming in, at, or around the trend zone, I may reduce my position size due to risk or take profit much earlier due to risk. I've dropped down even further to the 3-minute chart to talk about the next addition to the Pro version. We've also added consolidation areas, which are represented by these red and green horizontal dotted lines. What these show is that price is consolidating within a range, but more importantly, they show when price has broken up or down from a consolidation area. What this can do in terms of our decision making is, again, add confidence to a specific signal. A good example of this is here, where price breaks down out of consolidation. Then we receive warning dots that a signal may be inbound. The signal comes and price moves to the downside for a 1.63% gain. Another thing that we've added to the Pro version are these reversal warnings, which are represented by red or green X's on the chart. And what these show is a break from consolidation in the opposite direction of your trade, or if a trade isn't open, then it shows a reversal in the opposite direction of the current trend. A good example of this is here, where price action is moving in an uptrend, moving to the upside. We get a red X, which indicates a reversal, and then price swiftly moves to the downside. Also, shortly thereafter, we get a green X that shows price moving to the upside. At that point, we get an entry for a short position. If we entered that position, we had 2 take profits, and then we see a green X, which could have got us out of this position before our hard stop, which was multiple candles later. I've changed the colors on my chart back to the standard red and green to show this next addition. It was not very noticeable on my pink and blue candles, but the one thing we have added are high volume candles. The candlesticks change color to, in this case, blue and purple to represent a higher than average volume within the candle. You can see that here with this large blue candle, or over here with this large purple candle to the downside. This can be pretty handy in determining if a breakout will be sustained or if a trend will continue, or any of the multiple ways that volume is used to trade, which I could do a completely separate video on. Okay, so that's all of the additional features to the Pro version over the basic version. The idea behind these additional features is both to add confidence in the indicator signals and to give the user determining factors to eliminate signals. I'm going to close this video out with a huge thank you to my partner in crime and genius behind the RayPulse indicator code, Mr. Ray Meeks himself. If you guys have any questions, I can always be found trolling the BitBoy Lab and soon the BitBoy Academy. Happy trading.